Yeah, obvious. We've had some fabulous games with Leeds United over the years. Big rivalry between both clubs. They used to nick all our best players in the day, from Mick Jones to TC to other players along the way. Huge football club. I've said it all along, been consistent with it. Went toe to toe with them in the Championship a couple of years ago, and a brilliant addition to the Premier League. So yeah, of course. Not being a packed house here is yet again a disappointing aspect of what's happening in this country. But certainly great for both Leeds United and Sheffield United to battle it out on Sunday afternoon.
Are you concerned for the long-term future of the game with the news this week about the return of fans being on ice, and the Secretary of State has come out and said the Premier League has to help its own clubs? What do you make of that?
There's all different views of it. I've said all along, having worked in the pyramid, there's a lot of brilliant work goes on outside the Premier League. From a supporter's point of view, the dedication that they put into supporting not the glamour clubs through years and years. Historically is so important, and it's of course nobody wants any club to go by the wayside. We've talked about it far too many times already recently with Bury and other clubs. Bury, a club that have had over 100 years of history, gone in heartbeat through mismanagement. So I think it's a balance of making sure those clubs manage their finances right, and obviously the whole of football looking after the whole of football. And obviously the Premier League is the most powerful of the pyramid. And yeah, I would like to see that happen. Most importantly, as I said, that no clubs go under in this really difficult situation. But I don't think anything's guaranteed. So I've got to say, I do, sympathise with obviously the clubs outside the Premier League, because they do rely on supporters coming through the door, and commercial activities and corporate hospitality and so on and so on. And obviously, from a business point of view, they've took huge hits, and hopefully everybody will come through it. But I think there has to be definitely a concern about what's going off at the moment.
We've got two managers on Sunday who play on the front foot and like to attack games. Are we going to see two sides really going at it?
Well, we haven't changed our philosophy since we came back into the Premier League, and by all accounts, and I'm certain in saying this, Leeds haven't and won't. So there's your answer. We're after our first points of the season, and Leeds United are after adding to a great 3 points that they got against Fulham last weekend. So early days, obviously we're disappointed in terms of the points tally so far, but it is early days, and plenty of football to be played. So these are challenges that we have to come through. I've always said it's an easy game when the sun's shining. So this is the test of players, teams, individuals, managers, coaches, when things aren't going as well as what you would have wanted them to. And no good moaning about it, no good moaning about refereeing decisions. I commented on refereeing decisions after the Villa game, which I got asked to, and I gave an honest opinion on it. And then that was left, and move on to trying to work out what we need to do to gain a result on Sunday afternoon.
You've made no secret of your desire to bring in a new striker. Where are you at with that? Have you got a specific target in mind, or are you still assessing options?
Yeah, we've got targets. We need to add to that, and the owners know that. The owners understand that, and everybody's investing and adding to the group. I think we all had this opinion, during sort of lockdown, and then the second part of the season, that finances wouldn't be heavily invested into players, and I think that notion has got absolutely right through the window, really. So everybody's improving, everybody's adding to the group, and it's important Sheffield United add to the group as well, just as whatever everybody else has done in the relative way that we have to do with what we've got to spend.
You've already mentioned previously Brewster at Liverpool and Balogun at Arsenal. Are they still two players that you're interested in?
I'm not really comfortable. It's a difficult one for me to sit in front of you and say that we haven't made inquiries about those two players. But overall, I'm not really comfortable in speaking about other players, other clubs. So really, you've got me by the short and curlies, haven't you? Because I'm not going to sit here and say anything different. We've inquired about a number of players, and hopefully we'll get one over the line, because it's certainly an area that I've always believed from last year. As I've said on reflection during the season, during the lockdown, and at the end of the season, an area where we need to improve and get better quality into that group, especially with Leeds United not being involved as well at the moment.
Cool. Thank you, Chris. Cheers.
Cheers, Tim.
Anybody else unavailable this weekend? And of course, John Egan.
Yeah, John Egan's not available. Obviously, had him through his suspension, and Leeds Mousset. So everybody else, they're available.
In terms of John Egan's red card earlier in the week, did you think about appealing it?
I think I spoke about an occasion when I was at Oxford, and I had in the room individually regarding an incident where I thought we should appeal it. So I thought we should appeal it. Andy Melville played for his country and played about 500 games in the Premier League. Thought we should appeal it. Mickey Lewis, who was the assistant manager, played about 700 games in the Championship. Thought we should appeal it. And then, as this was resonate with Sheffield United fans of the past, Alan Hodgkinson, who worked with me at Oxford United, who was absolute. Played for England, played for over 600-700 league games for Sheffield United, worked at Manchester United with Sir Alex Ferguson. He said we should appeal it. We appealed it and it got turned down. So from then on, really, my thought process in appealing decisions has been very, very minimal. So no, I won't, because it basically won't get turned over. And even though I still believe, that it was the decision was the wrong one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, now that the dust settled and you had a bit of time, do you think any differently on either of the two incidents that we talked about earlier in the week?
I don't know. I have to make quick decisions on it when I'm talking to the press, because I see what I see from my own eyes, and I'm not going to spin anything. And I said it all along. So. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we quickly moved on in terms of work that we have to do at a football club to go and control what we control, which is obviously our team selection, the work that we do on the training ground, and our performance against a very, very talented Leeds United side. So, I can't waste any more energy on that. I said after the game what I said for a while. Yet again, openly and honestly, what I thought about the decisions, and I've not changed my mind after that, and not once I've thought about that anyway. And as I said, my sole aim and focus is getting our first points on the board on Sunday afternoon.
Obviously, with John missing, it gives an opportunity for somebody else. Is that somebody Ethan Ampadu this weekend after his performance at Villa?
Well, Ethan comes into the picture. Phil Jagielka comes into the picture. So there's all sorts. A change of shape might come into the picture. So of course, when somebody misses, it opens it up for somebody else. That's an obvious situation. And I thought Ethan, he's gonna play a big part in our season. And Phil Jagielka is his natural position. So yeah, there's some decisions to be made, as there always is. Because when I've said all along, obviously the performance levels against Wolverhampton Wanderers were okay. The performance level, obviously, against Villa, for 80 minutes is a difficult one to judge. I can't sit there really, talk about playing, 3 centre halves, a sitting midfield player, 2 midfield players, and a 10 and a 9 when we go down to 10 men after 12 minutes. So the whole complex of the game changes, but the attitude of the team is good as expected. The discipline of the team was good in terms of the shape. They never broke us down once. Aaron has not had a save to make, really. But there's certain things that you get punished with in the Premier League that we need to tighten up on. As we talked about afterwards, we can't concede a goal from set play. Where basically that's a level game at that time. It's not an overload or it's not a man advantage, and we should have dealt with that. So there's certain bits and pieces that we need to tighten up on. But definitely, as I said, when John's out, it opens it up, and as I said, there's some decisions to be made.
You picked Sander Berger at the base of the midfield on Monday night. Why did you feel it was time for Sander to operate that role?
Because I felt it was time.
Okay. In terms of your striker search, do you now feel that it's going to go down potentially to the end of this current transfer window? Yeah,
it potentially will. Working so hard to get that over the line, and I think we all understand it's not an easy situation, but we need to get somebody in. I've said all along for a long time, position specifics where we need to get in, which we have done with the players that we've brought in. So obviously that's the one area that we need to fill, and we need to get it right. And as you can imagine, and I've said for a long time, we're not like any other club or majority of clubs in this division in terms of we pick a phone up, we make that call, and we sign it off. It's just not the same. So I understand that, and when we get on with it.
So is the ball sort of currently in other clubs' court at the moment?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say so, and we have a decision as a football club as well above me. So there's always, as I keep saying, three main players in signing a player. The player, does he want to come to us? The selling club, do they want to let him go, and at what price? And the buying club, do they want him, and what price they're prepared to go up to? So there's on every player, all those three things have got to come in to make it happen. And we've identified players, so really there's other things that have got to happen now from a negotiation point of view to get the player in. My job is to identify, and hopefully off the back of that we can do business.
You mentioned a lot of clubs in the Premier League continuing to spend money. Should those clubs in the current climate be operating a bit more like the Blades? And is this an opportunity for the game to sort of bring down wages and fees potentially?
Every club has their own decision to make. The Premier League has a decision to make as an organisation. And in individual Premier League clubs will do what they need to do, and every club would do that in their own situation. Whether it's the right or wrong thing is up to them. That's the world that we live in, and that's what football has always been like, and possibly will always be like. It is a difficult period for clubs outside the Premier League. If anything can be done by the Premier League, and they make a decision collectively, because the Premier League is made up of the 20 clubs, and really it's the 20 clubs that run the Premier League. So it's a decision that they have to make as an organisation, really. The administration part of it and the members. So if they make that decision to help, then we would. But I think you obviously know my feelings on it in terms of the history that I have outside of the Premier League. There's it's certainly especially in the area that we live in. Extremely proud of all the clubs that are strong and keep the area going, and obviously what football plays in this part of the world is huge. And we're not a one club city, and we're not a 2 or 3 club area. Football's a huge part of life in South Yorkshire, and it has to be protected, in my opinion.
26 years since you met Leeds in the top flight. It's about time that you locked horns again at the top level.
Yeah, it's always interesting to play Leeds United. Obviously, as I've said before, history between the clubs. They're a huge football club, and obviously always looking from my club, and having my opinion on what Sheffield United are about. But Leeds United, you can't get away from the fact that they're a huge club in English football, and what they've achieved in the past, and it's a great it's great for them. I should imagine to be back in the Premier League. They'll no doubt believe that they should be there and at the top end. And imagine the majority of intelligent football people would echo their thoughts, but it sometimes doesn't work that way. And they've been out of the division, as I said, for a long time, through reasons, as we were out of the Championship and in League One, for certain reasons. And it's about how you adjust to that and deal with that and get yourself back moving forward. And certainly they're on the forward, they're on the front foot, and they've got momentum. And it would be, as I said, it's going to be an interesting game on Sunday. And obviously disappointing that there's not a full house to witness it, but it's certainly Leeds United back in the Premier League is news, and it should be rightly so.
14 goals in Leeds' 2 games in the Premier League so far. Are you expecting a high-scoring game this Sunday?
I'm expecting a competitive game. I'm expecting a game that'll be interesting tactically. Some good technical players on show. A lot of energy in both teams. In distances covered and how they play. And I think we've talked about it. 2 teams that I don't think are going to change. Well, I'm not changing, and certainly I don't think that Leeds United will change their approach. We haven't changed our approach into the Premier League, and we won't do, and Leeds won't. So both teams that are going for a win. So it sets it up for that type of game. And off the back of them scoring, they concede, and we'd like to obviously change our record around, because it's something that we're disappointed with at this particular moment. But I certainly don't think they were a million miles away. Playing 10 men for 80 minutes is a huge disadvantage to us. And a couple of bits that have gone against us, and things that we can control, we have to be better with, and we have to tighten up to give ourselves an opportunity of gaining points. And we'll have to certainly show all those qualities on Sunday to do that.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck.
Cheers, Adam.
Oops.
Right,
Yes.
All right.
A lot of people liked your comment last week about your nan, by the way. I'm going to start again with fans, because there are 2 big derbies. One near where I live, Watford, Luton. Your game, obviously, Sheffield United, Leeds. And I wonder what your opinion is on seeing fans going into games abroad, even in small numbers in France, maybe slightly bigger numbers in Germany, but yet we can't get any fans in grounds here.
Yeah, Ian, I made a comment a couple of years ago. Feels like it. A couple of weeks ago. This wasn't a dig at the Premier League in terms of leadership and my confusion. This was my opinion about general life, maybe the lack of leadership in general life, and the confusion amongst everybody, which I believe that there definitely is. It flip flops from one thing to the other. So that was it. It wasn't sort of a criticism of anything that the Premier League were doing, or trying to say that there shouldn't be supporters in. I think we all thrive, and we all know that the supporters are the heartbeat of the game, and everybody involved. I'm desperately disappointed of the experiences that we are not being involved in since supporters weren't back in the game. We personally have had a brilliant run at it over the last 3 or 4 years, and obviously the main part of that has been the attitude of our supporters to our football club that we love, and how desperately disappointing it is for them and the players and everybody involved. So it wasn't any criticism of football. It was a general confusion from my point of view of what you can do and what you can't do, and that just, I'm still confused about what's happening in this country, confused about what's happening in other countries, and I don't think I'm in a minority here. I think I'm in a majority, and I think if anybody else has got any answers to give me, then I've not changed my mobile number for about 30 years. So if they want to give me a buzz, I'm still on the same mobile number, and if they can give me any advice to what's going off, I'll gladly listen to it.
I mean, National League, I think, are going to make their decision today, maybe over the weekend, about whether or not their league starts. There must be a doubt about non-league football, and that eventually impacts on clubs like Sheffield United, whether you buy players from them or get players from them, or even just play these clubs in the FA Cup.
Well, anything, we're a huge supporters of football club, of local football. I've got the world's oldest ground, literally a 7-iron from a front door in Hallam FC. Sheffield FC, the oldest football club in the world. So from our area, Sheffield, we've got the oldest ground and the oldest football club, and arguably the birthplace of football. And that's taking out us and Sheffield Wednesday and all the teams that are around us and all the non-league teams. So I know from personal opinion, me when we haven't got a game, I've the opportunity of strolling up and watching a game of football and meeting up with local football people who are so passionate about the game at their level. We take first team squads to the likes of Sheffield FC and Hallam FC. And there's full houses and people are peering over the fence and trying to get in, because I think I've got an obligation as manager of a Premier League team in the city to do that and help with the local sides, and genuinely love going there. So huge connection with what's happening. So not just from the 92 football clubs, the clubs underneath the pyramid that start their FA Cup campaign in sort of July and August. Incredibly disappointing for those football clubs as it is going into the National League and League Two and League One.
Going to Sunday's game, as you've already said, looking for your first win, but you haven't played badly in the first 2 games. How are you kind of positioning things with your own team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite difficult to judge at the moment, Ian, because 2-0 down after 6 minutes, and then for a large period of that game, we were toe to toe with a fabulous side, and Villa, some really good players there that I'm sure will do better than what they did last year, and signing and players and bringing players in and adding to a really talented group, and going down to 10 men after 12 minutes and missing a penalty, and a lot of good things from an organisation point of view, but the bottom line is that we haven't got any points from 2 games, and it's not the start that we wanted. So we're looking obviously to gain our first points of the season on Sunday against a team, as we've talked about, that won't change their approach just as much as we didn't change our approach going into the Premier League, and looking forward to it. As we talked about it, tactically, very, very interesting game when you come up against Leeds United. And they've got a lot of attributes, a lot of good players, and they look as if they're bringing in more good players as well. So, I'm not banking or betting against them being a powerful club this season and having an excellent season. But as you can imagine, all my focus is going in to see if we can get up and running on Sunday afternoon.
In a way, I can see similarities between you and Marcelo Bielsa, your philosophies, the way you play. But in a way, I don't think there's 2 managers that are diametrically opposed on the planet. I mean, how do you view him?
Yeah, I think he speaks better English than what he makes out. I don't speak great English, but I don't try to tell everybody I do. Yeah, I mean, you just look at his record and what he's done in world football, and he's certainly a character. He's certainly an improver of players, and he certainly plays his football in a way that he wants to see it played as much as I want to see my teams play. I never put my record up against him. This is somebody who's an outstanding figure in European football and world football. Managed the national side, managed 2 national sides, and managed some huge football clubs in Europe. And obviously he's managing a really big club now in English football. And we went toe to toe with them in the 2 games that we had in the Championship. I believe we were the better side when we lost at Bramall Lane, and I should imagine him and all Leeds United supporters will have said the same thing in the return game at Ellen Road. So really 2 tight games, and I'm not expecting anything different on Sunday. We had a tremendous battle with them and Norwich City in the Championship. And it went all the way. And obviously, we had to do a lot of things right in the run up to pip an outstanding team to gain that second position. But I'm not surprised about the reaction of the players and the manager to go again once they committed to having another season. I think they were always going to be the favourites to go up, and obviously comfortably won the division. And congratulations on them doing it. And I'm sure from here on in they'll grow and grow.
Last quick one on transfer market. It seems to me it's getting harder now, unless you can throw enormous amounts of money at it, to go and uncover real gems and real, which you've done before. Real gems and real bargains. Is that right at your level?
Yeah. You can't get away from it. It is tough, to get young players to find that balance. In sort of the progression that we've had. It was still difficult, but it was not as difficult as it is now. We're bringing players into play in arguably the best division in the world up against some incredible players, and you just see what's about and what people are doing, and it's tough to keep up with them. But we have to find our own little ways to do it. Whether it's recruitment and working harder, we have to work as hard as anybody in this division. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And then we have to work as hard as anybody in the division on the training ground. So we've got to find those little wins in terms of recruitment, and we've got to find the wins in terms of the training, in terms of training ground. And as I said, I think that's a reasonable statement to put out there, and an honest statement to put out there.
Brilliant. Good to see you again, Chris.
Cheers, Ian. Take care, mate. Thanks,
And
pal.
you. See you.
How are you doing, Chris?
Hey, Paul.
Belated birthday greetings from earlier this week.
It's not about it. It ends up not being about you, though, does it? It's about other people, isn't it? Really, because if it was me, I know what I'd want to do, but it wasn't, and I didn't. So I didn't even know it was my birthday till about 2 days before. So I suppose that's how it sort of it is, especially when you haven't got a point on the board after 2 games. Sort of celebrations and birthdays really don't really come into it.
Well, I'm going to wish it you anyway.
Man, cheers, pal.
You're on 99 wins as manager.
Oh,
I don't know
that's a
whether
good start.
I don't know whether you knew that, but
I didn't.
To bring up a century of wins, what would that mean to you? Are you bothered about stats like that?
Well, it would mean that we've won a game of football, and we've won one against a really big club and a good side. So yeah, that's a good start. I didn't know that, Paul, but I'd love to be celebrating that on Sunday afternoon. So yeah, they've come in quick time at Sheffield United. So yeah, we are, as I've said all along, disappointed in our start from a points point of view. And to get that next win, we're all after that. Everybody in football's after the next win, after the next 3 points. We haven't got any, and we'd love to get them on Sunday afternoon.
How critical are you of yourself behind the scenes when things aren't going the way you would hope?
I think maybe that's a question to ask other people they see in terms of my attitude to it. I would personally say, yeah, I am. People say I'm overcritical at times, but that's the way I've always worked. We try to get our own house in order first and foremost, and making sure that we've done the absolute maximum that we can do. But this, as I said, there's other moving parts in it. You know, obviously your own team, the team that you're coming up against. You know, it isn't we play well, we win. You know, we're not in that league. We're not up against that. You know, we are up against that quality that if some other team says yes and you say yes, then sometimes it's not enough. But we're trying to say yes on a few more occasions than what we're doing so far at the moment. And we're looking at everything in terms of recruitment, from a physical point of view, from obviously the cornerstones of the game. It's one of the big things. You know, tactical, technical point of view, picking the right side. And it doesn't sit well with me. Even though I don't think we're a million miles off, it certainly doesn't sit well with me. So I just imagine the question to my wife, how it affects me at home, and the people around me may be more relevant. But yeah, I'm not enjoying this. Of course, I'm not. But I have to be balanced as well, and in that. But hopefully, you know, we're going to hopefully at the weekend produce a performance that gives us an opportunity. And games aren't decided on refereeing decisions, and are decided by good play in our point of view, and defending properly and getting in right positions, and not giving away cheap goals, which we are at the moment, and being more clinical in the opposition box. As I said all along, from both boxes, and I know the game completely changed after 12 minutes against Villa, but you know, I was happy the way we performed, and we were disciplined and the approach to the game and the shape of the team, and the same against Wolves. But as always, it gets judged in both boxes, Paul, and we've not been as good as the opposition in both boxes so far.
Obviously, all the ingredients are there for this Yorkshire derby at the weekend, but will it feel like one on the day? Obviously, we've spoken a lot already about the absence of fans. How do you then get across the players the significance of the fixture? Obviously, the win is important, but obviously, with fans in a stadium for a game like this, it would mean so much more usually. Will it feel different?
Yeah, of course. You can't get away from the fact that every Premier League game feels different, and certainly the ones where you're coming up against your local rivals. Of course, in terms of everything, in terms of the lead up, in terms of the week, you're going into the football club, Bramall Lane at the moment's, a ghost town. So, in sort of in and around the area. So you naturally don't get that feel and that vibe of what's coming up on the horizon. But players have got to get over it, and they've got to adjust to the fact that no supporters are in. From a motivational point of view, there's never an issue from my players. But this is a game that they will be backed by 30,000 supporters, and more so when you're up against Leeds United, because that's just the nature of the game, and generally overall the nature of the Premier League, and especially us coming up as a newly promoted side and only been in it a year. Tremendous enthusiasm and support that we have off our punters, which of course helps and certainly gives the players a lift. But we've got to find a way. We did last year in terms of some home games against Wolves and against Chelsea and against Spurs. We found a way, and we've got to find a way on Sunday. But yeah, of course, it's definitely not got the feel that we all want and hope for.
Where does this game rank for you? Sheffield United against Leeds. Yeah,
I think second on the list, but obviously who the number one is. But you've got other great clubs that you're up against in this division, haven't you? And I've said all along, our focus and our aim should be to establish ourselves as a Premier League club. So you're playing the likes of Manchester United and Spurs and Liverpool and Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, and everybody in the Premier League year in, year out has always got to be. But for a local boy, of course, you if you're going to ask me the question, there's obviously two teams that it always adds a little bit more to the game, and if you were at both of the games last, against Leeds United, you'll two close games, two hugely competitive games on and off the pitch, and that's what you're in football for, to experience and go through games like that, which is brilliant. And so yeah, it's right up there.
Final one from me. Does it add that little bit of extra spice this season to finish as Yorkshire's top club?
I think from our point of view, we've not got to worry about what other clubs are doing and just concentrate on ourselves. It's different challenges this year, which everybody talks about, and I understand those challenges. It hasn't gone as smoothly as what we would have liked from an opening start. From last year, 4 points on the board at this stage of the season. So different challenges that we have to overcome, but we have to overcome these. And I think it's always the sign of a person as an individual and as a team, how you deal with the days when it's not going as well as you would have liked it to have gone. Certainly, I've had that throughout my career as a manager, and these players would have done that themselves. So, they'll meet that challenge head on. They're not getting the white flag out, which I've said they haven't. They understand they have to dig in and tighten themselves up and as I said, show what they're about when it's not going as well. I said the game is playing the game and managing the game. It's really easy when things are going for you and decisions are going for you and players are at the top of the form, and the team's flowing and there's no injury problems, and everybody's getting on great, and you're backed by 30,000 supporters and 5,000 away supporters. But now there's different challenges now, and there's a few things that are going against us that we can't control. But there's other things that are going against us that we can control, and we've got to make sure that we do that and come out the other side. And I believe that whether it's coming out the other side or just getting that first result or getting that first point that gives us a little bit more belief and a little bit more confidence, but It's tough, but this is the Premier League. We're in it for a reason, and we've got to accept it, get on with it, and affect what we can affect, and I'm sure we will do.
Oh, man, thanks, pal.
Cheers, Paul. Take care, mate.
You too. Thank you.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for your
Hey,
time.
Dave.
You obviously have more insight into the financial hardships of lower league clubs than most Premier League managers. I was just wondering, just could you talk about some of the challenges when there are tough periods at lower league clubs?
Yeah, well documented what happened at Northampton, and I think well documented what our reaction was. So I'm sure that in those clubs that players, staff, supporters will do what they have to do, and which happened at Northampton. It happened at my time. It's happened at 2 or 3 of the clubs I've been involved in, and the genuine people that have got a huge love for their own individual club, and they'll be looking to do what they can do to make sure that everybody comes out the other side, and I'm sure they'll do that.
There's some reports that the Premier League financial help will carry it with it some conditions, but are you more of a whatever it takes kind of person to make sure these clubs do survive these next few months and seasons and whatever?
Well, the Premier League clubs, as I said, are made up of the members, the 20 clubs. So regardless of what the administrators at the Premier League do, it will be decided by the Premier League clubs. But I think the general overall, well, it will be from Sheffield United. I'm sure will be to go along with what we can do as a football club. But it has to be done collectively. I think it's already been said. I think it has to be done collectively from football really to make sure that we protect. And I'm sure that that those individual clubs will do as much as they possibly can. I think there's always going to be clubs that take that huge gamble and put themselves in a position that they shouldn't have put themselves in. So, I think maybe a little bit of sympathy goes out the window when they do that. That they don't run their club the way that they should do. But I believe generally the majority of the clubs in the pyramid know what they can do and what they can't do, and protect their individual football clubs.